In the office towers of April 2026, the view of the economy is pristine. From that high altitude, the narrative is one of a frictionless, golden era, an AI supercycle driven by tech giants and reflected in soaring digital spreadsheets. But at ground level, the economy operates as a heavy, mechanical engine made of steel, sweat, and debt. From this perspective, it is clear that the engine is starting to overheat. In Hickory, North Carolina, Corning and Meta just broke ground on a $6 billion optical fiber facility. This serves as a physical anchor for the global boom, where the abstract concept of the cloud is manufactured through heavy industrial machinery. This digital expansion is moving at a velocity the physical world struggles to match. We are watching a decoupling, where the growth of the cloud is outpacing the development of the roads, power grids, and logistical systems designed for a different century. To understand where the economy is actually heading, we have to look past the top-line numbers. We have to systematically examine the physical gears of this machine to see why they are starting to buckle. Global manufacturing is currently running into a physical wall at the Strait of Hormuz. The effective closure of this shipping lane has created a massive choke point for the machine's primary fuel. This chart tracks the price of Brent crude oil. With 20% of the world's supply suddenly removed from the market, the price has locked into a permanent war premium above $115 a barrel. For manufacturers in the foothills corridor, this acts as a compounding logistics tax. The $116 price point drips down through the supply chain, adding immediate surcharges to the synthetic fibers and petroleum resins required for local production. This localized inflation creates a trap for global central banks. They are watching traditional industrial sectors slow down, but they cannot cut interest rates to offer relief because energy costs remain at a boil. The blockade at Hormuz creates a friction that siphons profitability from the physical economy to fuel the digital one. This digital expansion requires a staggering power-hungry footprint on the ground. The cloud relies on massive corridors of dense server racks that demand constant, heavy-duty cooling and power. Feeding that infrastructure requires heavy earth-moving extraction. The Department of Energy recently cleared the way for the Kings Mountain lithium mine, turning a $250 million federal grant into a raw material foundry for the battery supply chain. Converting the corridor into an extraction hub locks up local groundwater and heavy transit capacity for the next 20 years, placing immense long-term pressure on regional resources. The strain on local utilities is so extreme that Microsoft has been forced to pay for its own grid upgrades. This shift moves the financial burden onto the corporate balance sheet to bypass overtaxed public systems and prevent local backlash. Despite these corporate investments, residents are facing revaluation shock. Speculative land grabs for data center sites are aggressively driving up property values, hitting everyday homeowners with sudden, massive tax increases. The AI boom is effectively strip mining the region's physical resources, enriching state balance sheets while pricing the local workforce out of their own backyards. The human element of this machine is facing a different kind of structural shift. This chart compares labor density between sectors. The high-density AI infrastructure replacing traditional factories requires 95% less labor to operate. This creates a structural divergence. Specialized tech roles are seeing massive wage spikes as companies compete for talent, while the traditional manufacturing floor enters a state of terminal decline. The state attempted to mitigate this shift with the no tax on overtime provision, intending to provide immediate stimulus to the struggling hourly workforce. However, the policy contains a mechanical flaw. Because the tax-free status only applies to the half portion of time-and-a-half pay, many workers failed to adjust their withholdings. The result is a tax cliff that neutralizes the expected financial relief. Between technical displacement and a broken administrative safety net, the local worker is being decoupled from the region's historic financial success. On the ground, the macro machine is sputtering. Raw materials like hot-rolled steel have hit $1,002 a ton, a price that stalls new home construction, while state agencies remain paralyzed by a budget deadlock that ignores the reality of 2026 inflation. This creates a bizarre paradox. Regional balance sheets are flush with corporate investment, yet the local worker is structurally locked out of a middle-class life. The AI supercycle is acting as a mechanism that cannibalizes the resources of the physical economy to power the digital one. Finding the truth of the 2026 economy requires looking past the high-altitude spreadsheets and watching the heavy machinery on the ground.